Dawn Shift, the morning routine that rewired my life and can rewire yours. Tired of waking up feeling like you've already lost the day? For years, Dr. Ollie Erickson was a slave to his snooze button. As a junior doctor, his mornings were a frantic, caffeine-fueled blur of stress, anxiety, and the pervasive feeling of being behind. He was a productivity guru's worst nightmare. But what if the secret to a more focused, joyful, and successful life wasn't about working harder, but about starting smarter? In Dawn Shift, Ollie Erickson pulls back the curtain on the single most powerful change he ever made, a simple, flexible morning routine that rewired his brain, skyrocketed his productivity, and became the foundation for his multi-million subscriber YouTube empire. This isn't another rigid, one-size-fits-all prescription for 5 a.m. kale smoothies and ice baths. This is a practical, science-backed, and often hilarious guide for real people living in the real world. Inside, you'll discover how to ditch the alarm drama and wake up feeling rested and calm without needing a ridiculous Rube Goldberg machine. The Hydrate and Illuminate hack, a 2-minute, two-step process to switch on your brain's energy and focus systems. The 5-minute Rusty Robot reset that turns morning stiffness into effortless momentum even if you hate exercise. Mindfulness for people who get bored easily, including how to handle your mind wandering to pizza during meditation. The no-bore breakfast matrix to create quick, delicious meals that prevent the dreaded 11 a.m. energy crash. How to tame your smartphone, turning it from a weapon of mass distraction into a powerful tool for a focused start. The curveball framework to keep your routine going without guilt when life inevitably gets messy with travel, illness, or a new baby. Packed with laugh-out-loud anecdotes of Allie's own failures, inspiring stories from readers whose lives have been transformed, and simple, actionable challenges you can start tomorrow, Dawn Shift is more than a book about mornings. It's a blueprint for taking back control of your life. It's the answer to feeling overwhelmed and a proven path to building a life of intention, one morning at a time. If you're ready to stop reacting to your day and start designing it, your dawn awaits. Chapter 1. Dawn Shift, the morning routine that rewired my life and can rewire yours. Introduction. Why mornings matter and why mine used to suck. Let's be honest, most of us aren't morning people. I certainly wasn't. My relationship with my alarm clock during my time as a junior doctor in the UK's National Health Service, NHS, was, to put it mildly, abusive. It would scream, I would hit it, and we'd repeat this toxic dance about 10 times before I'd finally drag my sleep-deprived carcass out of bed. My mornings were a frantic blur of lukewarm coffee, desperately trying to remember where I'd left my stethoscope, and a pervasive feeling that I was already behind before the day had even truly begun. I was, in short, a productivity guru's worst nightmare. I'd arrive on the ward, fueled by caffeine and cortisol, feeling more like a zombie than a life-saving doctor. This wasn't just suboptimal. It was a recipe for burnout. And trust me, I was well on my way. It's funny to look back on now, especially given that I've since built a multi-million subscriber YouTube empire largely centered around, well, not being that guy anymore. But the journey from chronically hitting snooze to intentionally shaping my mornings was a game changer. And it all started with a simple yet profound realization. How you start your day disproportionately affects how you live your day. This isn't some fluffy pseudoscientific claim. There's a solid body of evidence from neuroscience that backs this up. When you first wake up, your brain is in a highly suggestible state. It's transitioning through different brainwave states, from the deep sleep of delta and theta to the more alert alpha and beta waves. That first hour is prime time for programming your mind for the day ahead. Think of it like this. Your brain has a natural cortisol awakening response, CAR, a surge in the hormone cortisol that helps you feel alert and ready to tackle the day. By having a consistent morning routine, you're essentially telling your brain, hey, I've got this. Today is going to be a good day. You're taking control of that hormonal response rather than letting it be dictated by the chaos of a frantic morning. But it's not just about modern science. The wisdom of the ancients also points to the power of a structured start to the day. The Stoic philosophers, like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca, were big proponents of morning rituals. They understood that the morning was a precious opportunity to reflect, prepare for the challenges ahead, and set a virtuous tone for the rest of the day. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, would write in his journal Meditations each morning, reminding himself of the precious privilege of being alive. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's all well and good for a Roman emperor, but I've got kids to get to school and a boss who sends emails at 6 a.m. I get it. I really do. I'm not here to prescribe a rigid, one-size-fits-all morning routine that involves waking up at 4:30 a.m. to meditate for an hour and drink a kale smoothie. In fact, one of my most embarrassing moments from my early days of trying to be a productive YouTuber involved a very important Zoom meeting with a potential sponsor. I'd overslept thanks to a late-night editing session, and with seconds to spare, I threw on a smart-looking shirt, combed my hair, and logged on, feeling pretty pleased with myself for pulling it together. It wasn't until I stood up at the end of the call to grab a book from my shelf that I revealed to a screen full of very important people that I was, in fact, wearing my favorite Spider-Man pajama bottoms. Let's just say it wasn't my most professional moment. That cringe-worthy experience taught me a valuable lesson. A good morning routine isn't about perfection, it's about intention. It's about creating a series of small, manageable habits that set you up for success, whatever that looks like for you. It's about shifting from a reactive to a proactive state of mind. And that one tweak, that shift in mindset from have to get to, is what ultimately led to the creation of my YouTube channel and everything that's come since. It all started with a simple commitment to reclaim my mornings. So, are you ready to stop being a slave to your snooze button and start designing a morning that works for you? Before we dive in, let's figure out what we're working with. What's your morning type? A quick quiz. This isn't a scientifically validated psychometric assessment, but it will give you a good idea of your natural morning tendencies. Answer honestly. 1. Your alarm goes off at 7 a.m. on a workday. What's your immediate reaction? A. I'm up and at 'em, ready to seize the day. B. I hit snooze at least twice, but I'm generally functional after a coffee. C. I groan, question all my life choices, and seriously consider a new career that starts in the afternoon. 2. On a free day with no obligations, when do you naturally wake up? A. Pretty much the same time as a workday, my internal clock is set. B. I might sleep in an extra hour or so, but I'm still up by mid-morning. C. Noon is a perfectly acceptable time to start the day. 3. When do you feel most productive and focused? A. In the morning. I get my most important tasks done before lunch. B. I have a good burst of energy mid-morning and then again in the late afternoon. C. I'm a night owl. My best ideas come to me after 9 p.m. 4. How do you feel about breakfast? A. It's the most important meal of the day. I love a good hearty breakfast. B. I can take it or leave it. Usually a coffee and a pastry will do. C. Breakfast is what you have when you wake up, regardless of the time. So a 1 p.m. breakfast is completely normal. 5. How would you describe your energy levels throughout the day? A. A steady decline from a morning peak. B. A bit of a roller coaster, with a few peaks and troughs. C. A slow and steady buildup to an evening peak. Mostly A's, the early bird. You're a natural morning person. You have a head start on the day, and a structured morning routine can help you capitalize on your natural energy and focus. Your challenge might be to protect that precious morning time from distractions. Mostly bees, the flexible finch. You're somewhere in the middle. You're not a diehard morning person, but you're not a complete night owl either. You have the flexibility to design a morning routine that can either supercharge your mornings or give you a gentle, slower start to the day. Mostly Cs, the night owl. The thought of a 6 a.m. start probably fills you with dread. And that's okay. The goal isn't to force you to become a morning person, but to find ways to make your mornings less painful and more productive so you can conserve your energy for when you're at your peak. Now that you have a better understanding of your morning type, let's get into the nuts and bolts of how to build a morning routine that will rewire your life for the better. In the next chapter, we'll explore the core components of a successful morning routine and how you can tailor them to your specific needs and goals. Chapter 2. The Wake-Up Call. Ditching the Alarm Drama. If our mornings are the foundation for our day, then the alarm clock is the sledgehammer that often cracks that foundation before we've even laid it. For years, my wake-up call was a blaring, anxiety-inducing siren that felt less like a gentle nudge into consciousness and more like an air raid drill. It was an auditory assault that instantly put my body into fight or flight mode. My heart would pound, my mind would race, and my first conscious thought of the day was usually something along the lines of, "No, please, just 5 more minutes." This is the reality for so many of us. We treat waking up as a necessary evil, a painful transition to be endured. We've become a generation of perpetual snoozers, locked in a daily battle with a device that's supposed to help us. If you've ever felt like your morning alarm is more of a foe than a friend, trust me, you're not alone. I see you, fellow snoozer. I was you. My war against the alarm clock reached a truly comical peak during my second year of medical school. Convinced that the problem wasn't my lack of sleep, but the method of waking up, I decided to engineer a better solution. My goal? To create a Rube Goldberg machine that would wake me up in a way that was impossible to ignore, but also, theoretically, more pleasant. The contraption was a masterpiece of misguided ambition. It started with my phone alarm set to a gentle bird song, the only smart part of this plan, vibrating, which would cause a marble to roll down a ramp made of textbooks. The marble would then knock over a line of dominoes, which would trigger a lever that released a small, pre-filled water pistol aimed squarely at my face. The first test run was a spectacular failure. The marble got stuck on Grey's Anatomy, the dominoes fell sideways, and the water pistol, having been precariously balanced for hours, decided to leak all over my bedside table, shorting out my lamp. The grand finale came the next morning when it partially worked. The marble rolled, the dominoes fell, but the lever only nudged the water pistol enough for it to slowly dribble lukewarm water onto my pillow about an inch from my ear. I woke up 30 minutes late with a damp pillow and the crushing realization that there had to be a better way. The punchline is that the better way is ridiculously simple. It's about working with your body's natural systems, not against them. The key is understanding our circadian rhythm, the internal 24-hour clock that regulates our sleep-wake cycle. This rhythm is heavily influenced by light exposure. When our body is exposed to light in the morning, it suppresses the production of melatonin, the sleep hormone, and ramps up cortisol, telling our brain it's time to be awake. A harsh, sound-based alarm yanks you out of your sleep cycle abruptly. A gentle, light-based awakening, however, mimics a natural sunrise, easing your brain from a state of sleep into wakefulness. This is the art of the slow rise. It's about creating a calm, gradual transition that prevents that morning jolt of stress and anxiety. I started small. I swapped my phone's default klaxon for a gentle chime that slowly increased in volume. Then I invested in a sunrise alarm clock, a lamp that gradually brightens over 30 minutes before the audible alarm even sounds. The first morning I used it, the change was profound. I woke up feeling calm. There was no panic, no frantic fumbling for the snooze button. I just felt awake. This simple switch has been a game changer for so many people I've taught this to. I remember an email from a reader named Sarah, a freelance graphic designer and self-proclaimed chronic snoozer. She told me she used to set 5 alarms every morning, starting an hour before she actually needed to get up. Her mornings were a source of constant stress. After switching to a sunrise alarm and a gentle soundscape, she said, "For the first time in my adult life, I don't dread the morning. I actually wake up a few minutes before my alarm goes off, feeling rested and ready. It's completely changed my relationship with my workday." That's the power of ditching the alarm drama. It's not about finding a clever hack or building a ridiculous contraption. It's about treating the first moment of your day with intention and kindness. Ready to break up with your snooze button? Let's do it. Lessons to follow. Your 7-day Gentle Rise Challenge. The goal here is progress, not perfection. This week, we're going to customize your wake-up ritual to make it work for you. Step 1. Choose your sound. Your current alarm sound is probably terrible. Go into your phone settings right now and change it. Don't just pick another default sound. Find something genuinely pleasant. Good options: gentle chimes, birdsong, soft piano music, sounds of a flowing river. Apps like Calm or Headspace have great wake-up tracks. Pro tip: pick a sound that gradually increases in volume. This is a key feature in many alarm apps. Step 2. Let there be light. Light is the most powerful signal to your brain that it's time to wake up. The budget option: if your window gets morning sun, sleep with your curtains slightly open. Let nature be your alarm clock. The tech option: if you can, invest in a sunrise alarm clock. They range in price, but even a basic model can be a game changer. It's one of the best productivity investments I've ever made. The smart home option: if you have smart bulbs like Philips Hue, you can program them to fade in slowly at your desired wake-up time. Step 3. The No Snooze Pact. This is the hard part, but it's crucial. The snooze button messes with your sleep-wake cycle, leaving you in a state of sleep inertia, that groggy brain fog feeling. We're going to kill it with a simple rule. The 5-second rule, Mel Robbins style. The moment your alarm goes off, count backwards from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then physically get out of bed. Stand up. The physical act of moving breaks the state of inertia. Move your alarm. Place your phone or alarm clock across the room. This forces you to physically get out of bed to turn it off. By the time you're standing, you're halfway there. The 7-day challenge. Day 1 to 2. Change your alarm sound to something gentle. Place your phone across the room, no other changes. Just get used to getting out of bed immediately. Day 3 to 4. Incorporate light. Either leave your curtains cracked or set up your smart bulb or sunrise alarm. Focus on how you feel waking up to light versus just sound. Day 5 to 7, put it all together. You have your gentle sound and your gradual light. Now, practice the 5-second rule as soon as your final alarm goes off. When you stand up, take one deep breath. Your goal for the end of the week is to wake up feeling less like you've begun about a crash and more like you're calmly starting your day. Give it a go for 1 week. That's all I ask. You might just find that the most dreaded moment of your day can become one of the most peaceful.
Chapter 3. Hydrate and Illuminate. The First Sip of Power. All right, so you've managed to get out of bed without wanting to throw your alarm clock out the window. High five. That's a genuine win. But what's the very next thing you do? If you're anything like my former self, you stumble, zombie-like, towards the siren song of the coffee machine, convinced that a hot, black, caffeinated liquid is the only thing that can resurrect you. For years, this was my unquestioned reality. Getting out of bed was step 1. Mainlining espresso was step 1A. I operated under the assumption that my brain couldn't possibly form a coherent thought without an immediate caffeine injection. What I didn't realize was that I was trying to start a high-performance engine by pouring rocket fuel into a bone-dry oil tank. It might roar to life for a few minutes, but it's a terrible long-term strategy. Let's talk about my dehydrated zombie phase. During my busiest years as a junior doctor, I was chronically dehydrated and didn't even know it. I'd wake up after a 5-hour sleep with a dry mouth and a fuzzy head, misinterpreting my body's desperate screams for water as cries for caffeine. Here's the simple biology I was ignoring. You've just gone, hopefully, 7 to 8 hours without any fluid intake. Your body and brain are parched. When you chug coffee, which is a diuretic, you're essentially telling your already thirsty organs to expel what little water they have left. It's like being lost in the desert and, upon finding a puddle, deciding to use it to wash your socks. It just doesn't make sense. My wake-up call on this front came, quite literally, from a leaky water bottle. In a rare moment of forward thinking, I decided to start prepping a liter of water the night before to have it ready for the morning. I filled up a fancy new bottle, chucked it in my work bag alongside my iPad with all my notes for a big presentation, and went to bed feeling smug. The next morning, I discovered the bottle's leak-proof seal was more of a vague suggestion. My bag was a puddle, and my presentation notes were a mush of pulpy, illegible garbage. As I stood there, blow-drying paper in a desperate attempt to salvage my work, I had an epiphany. Maybe I should pay more attention to water. The solution is so profoundly simple, it almost feels like a cheat code. Before you do anything else, drink a glass of water. That's it. This single act kickstarts your metabolism, rehydrates your brain, which is about 75% water, and helps to flush out the metabolic waste your body cleared out while you slept. It's the oil for your engine. It's the system reboot. But we can make it even more powerful by pairing it with another crucial morning ingredient: light. Just as water signals to your body that it's time to get your internal systems running, light signals to your brain that it's time to get the day started. Getting a dose of light within the first hour of waking is arguably the most important thing you can do to set your body's master clock, the suprachiasmatic nucleus. Don't worry, you won't be tested on that. This is the part of your brain that controls your circadian rhythm. Exposing your eyes to light tells this master clock to shut down the production of melatonin, the sleep hormone, and fire up the systems that make you feel alert, focused, and in a good mood. This is where my sunrise lamp hack comes in. I still use the same sunrise alarm clock that wakes me up. After I get out of bed, I grab my glass of water, sit back down on the edge of my bed, and just face the lamp for 5 to 10 minutes while it's at its brightest setting. I drink my water, and I let the light do its thing. It's a 2-for-1 deal that hydrates my body and illuminates my brain simultaneously. This tiny habit stack can have a massive ripple effect, as I learned from an incredible woman named Maya who shared her story with me. As a single mom to twin toddlers, her mornings were a frantic whirlwind of finding matching socks, wiping up spilled milk, and negotiating with tiny dictators over breakfast choices. She was perpetually exhausted and running on fumes and leftover coffee. She told me she felt like she had no time for herself. She decided to try just one thing. She started setting her alarm 15 minutes earlier. Before the kids woke up, she would go to the kitchen, pour a large glass of water with a squeeze of lemon, and sit by the big window in her living room, watching the sky brighten. That was it. No journaling, no meditation, just water and light. She said that small pocket of quiet solitude became her anchor. It was the one part of her day that was just for her. It didn't magically make her toddlers less chaotic, but it gave her the inner calm and energy to handle the chaos without feeling completely overwhelmed. She wasn't starting her day in a deficit anymore. Lessons to follow. Your Hydrate and Illuminate toolkit. Ready to build this powerful 1-2 punch into your morning? Let's make it ridiculously easy. Part 1. The hydration station. The biggest barrier to drinking water in the morning is friction, so let's eliminate it. The golden rule: before you go to bed tonight, put a glass, jug, or water bottle on your bedside table. It should be the first thing you see and the easiest thing to reach for when you wake up. Level up your H2O. Optional but fun. If you find plain water a bit boring, prep some infused water the night before. It makes the habit feel like a treat. The refresher. Water plus a few slices of cucumber and a sprig of fresh mint. The energizer. Water plus a big squeeze of fresh lemon or lime juice. The zinger. Water plus a few thin slices of fresh ginger. Part 2. Your light ritual checklist. Your goal is 5 to 10 minutes of light exposure within the first hour of waking. Pick your level. Level 1. The window gazer. Good. Drink your glass of water while sitting by or looking out of the brightest window in your home. Even on a cloudy day, the ambient light from outside is more powerful than your indoor lights. To double check. The fresh air enthusiast. Better. Take your water and step outside for a few minutes. You don't need to stare at the sun. Please don't. Just being outside is enough. Feel the air. Notice the day starting. It's a brilliant way to connect with the world before you connect with your phone. 3 checks. The light hacker. Best. This is my personal method. Use a sunrise alarm clock or a dedicated SAD lamp. They provide a concentrated dose of the right kind of light to signal to your brain. Habit stack. Sit in front of the light while you drink your water. Done. 2 birds, 1 stone, 0 effort. Start with level 1. Do that for a week. See how it feels. By pairing these 2 fundamental biological signals, hydration and illumination, you're giving your mind and body the clearest possible message. The day has begun, and we are ready for it.
Chapter 4. Move to groove, turning stiffness into flow. If you've ever woken up feeling less like a human and more like the Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz before he gets his oil can, you know what I'm talking about. That morning stiffness, the creaks in your joints, the feeling that your body is a rusty, reluctant machine that needs a serious kickstart. For most of my academic and early professional life, my body's default morning state was rigor mortis light. My solution to this problem was, for a long time, to do absolutely nothing about it. I'd just accept the creakiness as a fact of life, hoping the hot water from the shower and the aforementioned caffeine IV drip would eventually lubricate my system. But as I started optimizing other parts of my morning, the disconnect became glaring. My mind was getting hydrated and illuminated, but my body was still stuck in park. So I decided to do what any newly converted productivity enthusiast would do. I went from 0 to 100. I was going to become a sunrise jogger. I had this romantic vision in my head, me gliding effortlessly through the quiet Cambridge streets as the sun cast a golden glow, my mind filled with profound thoughts, my body a temple of athletic grace. The reality was slightly different. I set my alarm for an ungodly hour, threw on an old cotton t-shirt and some shorts, a terrible choice for the damp English morning, and bolted out the door, high on motivation. This feeling lasted for approximately 45 seconds, at which point my lungs began to burn as if I'd inhaled fire. A sharp stitch pierced my side, and the effortless gliding devolved into a wheezing, shambling stumble. I got back to my flat 15 minutes later, freezing cold, drenched in a mixture of sweat and dew, feeling utterly defeated. Instead of creating energy, my grand jogging debut had drained my willpower for the entire day. I didn't feel powerful. I felt pathetic. This disastrous experiment taught me a crucial lesson. The goal of morning movement isn't to crush a workout. It's to change your physiological state. It's to create momentum. It's to generate effortless power. When you wake up, your body needs a gentle nudge, not a shove off a cliff. After hours of being still, your muscles are tight and your lymphatic system, the body's waste disposal network, is sluggish.
A few minutes of simple movement is like a system-wide wake-up call. It sends a fresh supply of oxygen-rich blood to your brain and muscles, clearing out the fog. It also triggers a delightful little neurochemical cocktail, releasing endorphins, your body's natural mood lifters, and neurotransmitters like dopamine and norepinephrine, which are critical for focus and attention. You're not trying to burn calories, you're trying to build energy. The return on investment for 5 minutes of gentle, intentional movement is astronomically high. I saw this principle transform the life of an entrepreneur I coached, named Ben. He was on the fast track to burnout. He ran a successful startup, but woke up every morning with a knot of anxiety in his stomach, his mind already racing with the day's impossibly long to-do list. He felt like he was living in his head, completely disconnected from his body. So I didn't tell him to start running marathons. I gave him a single instruction. For the next week, while your coffee is brewing, I want you to do 5 minutes of simple stretching. That's it. He was skeptical, but he was also desperate. He did it. A week later, he told me it had changed everything. That small 5-minute act of self-care broke the cycle of morning dread. It was a tiny, achievable win that proved to him he was still in control. It quieted the noise in his head and grounded him in his body. That little habit didn't solve his business problems, but it gave him the clarity and resilience to face them without imploding. He turned his stiffness into flow, and it rippled through his entire day. Lessons to follow. The 5-minute rusty robot reset. Ready to oil your joints and get moving? The golden rule here is to start stupidly small. The aim is to build a consistent habit, not to train for the Olympics. Choose one of these routines and stick with it for a week. The goal: just show up for 5 minutes. Consistency greater than intensity. Progress tracker. Grab a calendar or a notebook. Every day you complete your 5-minute routine, give yourself a big, satisfying X. Don't track reps or duration, just track your streak. The goal is not to break the chain. Level 1. The still brewing stretch. Do this while your coffee or tea brews. 1 minute of neck rolls. Gently tilt your head from side to side, then slowly roll it forwards, ear to shoulder. Don't roll it backwards. 1 minute of shoulder rolls and shrugs. Roll your shoulders backwards 5 times, then forwards 5 times. Then shrug them up to your ears, hold for a breath, and release. 1 minute of torso twists. Stand with your feet shoulder-width apart, arms loose. Gently twist your upper body from side to side. 1 minute of sky reach. Inhale and reach your arms up to the sky, stretching your whole body. Exhale and bring them down. Repeat. 1 minute of forward fold. Bend your knees generously and let your head and arms hang heavy towards the floor. Just breathe and relax. Level 2. The yoga for people who hate yoga flow. 1 minute of cat-cow. On your hands and knees, inhale as you drop your belly and look up. Exhale as you round your spine and tuck your chin. This is amazing for your back. 2 minutes of downward dog. From hands and knees, lift your hips up and back. Crucially, bend your knees a lot. Pedal your feet, stretching one calf and then the other. It doesn't have to look perfect. 1 minute of low lunge, 30 seconds each side. From downward dog, step 1 foot forward between your hands. Drop your back knee to the floor. You should feel a nice stretch in the front of your hip. 1 minute of child's pose. Kneel on the floor, sit back on your heels, and fold forward, resting your forehead on the ground. Just breathe and relax. Level 3. The heart raiser circuit. When you want a little more buzz, set a timer for 5 minutes. Do each exercise for 45 seconds with 15 seconds of rest in between. Round 1. Jumping jacks. Round 2. Bodyweight squats. Round 3. High knees. Just jog in place, bringing your knees up. Round 4. Push-ups. On your knees is perfect. Round 5. Plank. Pick one. Just one. Do it tomorrow morning. You won't believe the difference 5 minutes can make in turning that feeling of ugh into a feeling of let's go.
Chapter 5. Mindful minutes. Breathing away the chaos. If you'd told the 22-year-old version of me, a hyper-caffeinated medical student obsessed with flashcards and efficiency hacks, that I would one day be advocating for the practice of sitting still and doing nothing, I would have laughed you out of the room. In my world, every spare minute was an opportunity to cram in more information. The idea of intentionally carving out time to just be felt like a productivity sin of the highest order. It was fluffy, it was woo-woo, and it was, in my mind, a complete waste of time. My morning was a launch sequence, not a Zen garden. Hydrate, illuminate, move. These were all active, tangible inputs for a predictable output. More energy, more focus. But meditation? That just seemed like a recipe for falling back asleep, or worse, being alone with my ever-expanding to-do list. The chaos in my mind wasn't something to be observed, it was a beast to be outrun. This mindset is, I suspect, very familiar to anyone juggling a demanding career, a busy family, or the general whirlwind of modern life. Your brain feels like a web browser with 100 tabs open, all of them playing different videos at full volume. The idea of quietly sitting down in the middle of that racket seems absurd. Who has the time for that? My first attempts to tame the beast were frankly hilarious. I downloaded a popular meditation app, sat down on a cushion with my back ramrod straight, as I'd seen in pictures, and closed my eyes, ready for enlightenment. The soothing voice in my headphones instructed me to gently notice my thoughts and let them pass like clouds in the sky. Here's what my clouds looked like in the first 60 seconds. Okay, breathing in, breathing out. I can do this. Did I remember to take the chicken out of the freezer for dinner? I really fancy a pepperoni pizza. Not just any pizza, a proper sourdough one from that place down the road. I wonder if they deliver this early. Probably not. This guide's voice is very calm. I should work on my YouTube voice. Focus. Clouds. Thoughts are clouds. My pizza thought is now a big, fluffy, pepperoni-shaped cloud drifting away, and I'm hungry. I would end these sessions feeling more agitated than when I started, convinced I was a meditation failure. My mind wasn't a serene sky, it was a chaotic pinball machine, and my thoughts were the balls ricocheting around at 1,000,000 miles an hour. The breakthrough came when I realized the goal wasn't to stop thinking about pizza. The point was simply to notice I was thinking about pizza, have a quiet chuckle about it, and then gently guide my attention back to my breath. That's it. That's the entire game. It's not about achieving a perfectly empty mind. It's about the practice of returning over and over again from distraction. It's a bicep curl for your attention muscle. This small shift in perspective is everything. It takes mindfulness from a pass-fail test of your spiritual purity to a simple, repeatable mental exercise. Suddenly, every distraction, every pizza craving, every anxious thought about an email, every random memory of an embarrassing thing you said in 2012 becomes an opportunity to do a rep. I once mentored a brilliant student named Aisha, who was struggling with severe exam anxiety. She knew her stuff inside and out, but the moment she sat down in an exam hall, her mind would flood with a tidal wave of panic and what-ifs. This mental noise was crippling her performance. I suggested she try a 5-minute guided meditation every morning before she started studying. She was, as I had been, deeply skeptical, but she was also at her wit's end. A few weeks later, she told me it had been transformative. The meditation didn't magically erase her anxiety, but it changed her relationship with it. She learned to see her anxious thoughts as just that, thoughts. They were the noisy pinball machine. But she now knew she wasn't the machine itself. She was the player who could choose where to focus her attention. That small pocket of calm she created each morning gave her a mental anchor, a quiet space she could return to when the chaos threatened to overwhelm her in the exam hall. She went on to ace her exams, not because she'd learned more, but because she'd learned how to get out of her own way. Lessons to follow. Your mindfulness starter pack. Let's make this as easy as possible. We're going to build your attention muscle with short, simple reps. No sitting on a cushion for an hour required. 1. Download your guide. Don't try to go it alone at first. Let technology help you. These apps are brilliant for beginners. Headspace,
fantastically well designed with great introductory courses to teach you the basics. Calm offers a huge variety of guided meditations, music, and sleep stories. Great if you like variety. Waking Up, for the more intellectually curious. Sam Harris explores the theory and philosophy behind mindfulness. Insight Timer, a massive free library of guided meditations from thousands of teachers. The challenge? Try a free trial of one and do the introductory 5 or 10-minute session every morning for a week. 2. The 2-minute reset button, box breathing. This is a simple breathwork technique you can do anywhere, anytime you feel overwhelmed. It's a lifesaver before a big meeting or when you open a stressful email. Step 1. Sit comfortably and gently exhale all the air from your lungs. Step 2. Inhale slowly through your nose for a count of 4. Step 3. Hold your breath for a count of 4. Step 4. Exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 4. Step 5. Hold at the bottom of the exhale for a count of 4. Repeat this cycle for 1 to 2 minutes. That's it. You've just reset your nervous system. 3. The 5-minute Where's My Mind guided script. You can read this, record it on your phone, or just use the concepts. The goal is simply to notice. Find a comfortable seat. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing so. Take a deep breath in and out. For the next few moments, we're just going to notice. Start by noticing the physical sensations, the feeling of your feet on the floor, the weight of your body in the chair, the temperature of the air on your skin. You don't need to change anything, just notice that it's there. Now bring your attention to your breath. Notice where you feel it most. Is it the cool air entering your nostrils, the rise and fall of your chest, or the expansion of your belly? Just rest your attention there for a few breaths. Inevitably, your mind will wander. You'll start thinking about your to-do list, about breakfast, about that silly pizza. The moment you realize your mind has wandered, that is a moment of success. You've just woken up. Don't judge yourself. Just gently acknowledge the thought, and then, like guiding a puppy, gently lead your attention back to the feeling of your breath. That is the whole practice. We'll do this for just a few more moments, breathing in and breathing out. Whenever the mind wanders, we just gently return. That is the whole practice. Take one more deep breath in and exhale with a sigh. That's all it takes. 5 minutes to trade a bit of the morning chaos for a moment of intentional calm.
Chapter 6. Fuel for the Fire. Breakfasts that don't bore. For a significant portion of my life, my breakfast philosophy could be summed up in 2 words: fast and sugary. My morning meal was usually a bowl of something colorful that came from a box promising untold amounts of energy, or a piece of toast slathered with a jam that had more in common with a dessert topping than a fruit. I'd get a fantastic, albeit brief, sugar-fueled high for about 45 minutes, followed by a productivity-killing crash around 10:30 a.m. that would leave me feeling foggy, irritable, and desperately reaching for another coffee and a biscuit. If you've ever found yourself staring blankly at a spreadsheet by mid-morning, feeling like your brain has been replaced with cotton wool, you're likely a victim of the same breakfast crime. We grab the convenient, sugary option on our way out the door and then wonder why we feel terrible an hour later. It's a classic case of short-term gain for long-term pain. My own culinary journey from a sugar-for-breakfast advocate to someone who actually understands nutrition was not without its incidents. There was a period where I became obsessed with the idea of becoming an avocado toast artist. I'd seen these masterpieces on Instagram, perfectly fanned slices of avocado on rustic sourdough, sprinkled with chili flakes and a perfectly poached egg. It looked like the epitome of health and sophistication. My first attempt was an unmitigated disaster. I'd bought an avocado that had the consistency of a cricket ball. In my struggle to slice it, my knife slipped, sending the rock-hard avocado flying across the kitchen, where it ricocheted off a cupboard and knocked over my freshly brewed coffee, creating a brown, sludgy mess all over the floor. Undeterred, I managed to hack some chunks out of it and mash them onto a piece of slightly burnt toast.
My final creation looked less like a trendy brunch item and more like a Shrek-themed science experiment gone horribly wrong. As I stood there, surveying the kitchen carnage, I realized there had to be a middle ground between a bowl of glorified sugar and a failed attempt at food art. The secret isn't about creating Instagram-worthy meals. It's about understanding a simple principle. Your breakfast should be built for sustained energy, not a quick spike. Think of it like building a fire. A sugary breakfast is like lighting a crumpled-up newspaper. It burns bright and fast, but it's gone in a flash, leaving you with nothing. A balanced, nourishing breakfast is like putting a solid, dense log on the fire. It catches slowly, but burns steadily for hours, providing consistent heat and energy. That log is made up of 3 key components: protein, healthy fats, and fiber from complex carbohydrates. Protein keeps you full, healthy fats are crucial for brain function, and fiber slows down the absorption of sugar, preventing that dreaded crash. I saw the power of this switch with a friend of mine, Chloe, a freelance writer. Her creativity was at its peak in the morning, but her habit of grabbing a croissant and a sugary latte meant that by the time she was really getting into her flow, her energy would tank. She felt like her best working hours were being stolen from her. I challenged her to switch to a simple breakfast of Greek yogurt, protein and fat, with berries, fiber, and a sprinkle of nuts, more fat and protein. She messaged me a week later. "It's absurd," she wrote. "I don't get that 11 a.m. brain fog anymore. I'm writing for 3 solid hours without feeling distracted or hungry. It's like I've unlocked a new level of focus." She wasn't spending any more time on her breakfast, but by changing the type of fuel she was using, she completely transformed her output. Lessons to follow: the no-bore breakfast matrix. Forget rigid recipes. Let's build a system. The goal is to make a delicious, energizing breakfast in under 10 minutes by picking and choosing from the categories below. Your mission: every morning, build a plate or a bowl or a blender with at least one item from each of the 3 columns. Protein power keeps you full, healthy fats fuel your brain, and fiber from complex carbohydrates. Eggs, scrambled, fried, boiled. Avocado, rolled oats. Greek yogurt, unsweetened. Nuts, almonds, walnuts. Berries, fresh or frozen. Cottage cheese. Seeds, chia, flax, pumpkin. Banana or apple. Protein powder for smoothies. Nut butter, almond or peanut butter. Whole grain bread. Smoked salmon or tofu scramble. Olive oil for cooking eggs. Spinach or kale for scrambles or smoothies. 3 ridiculously quick recipes built from the matrix. 1. The 2-minute power bowl. Base, protein and fat. 1 cup of full-fat Greek yogurt or cottage cheese. Topping, fiber and fat. Handful of berries plus 1 tablespoon of chia seeds or chopped walnuts. Method: put it all in a bowl, stir, eat. It's faster than making toast. 2. The 5-minute brainy scramble. Ingredients: 2 eggs, protein. 1 handful of spinach, fiber. 1/4 of an avocado, fat. Slice of whole grain toast, complex carb. Method: whisk your eggs, heat a pan with a little olive oil, wilt the spinach for 30 seconds, then add the eggs and scramble. Serve on toast with sliced avocado on the side. 3. The Get Up and Go smoothie. This is the ultimate meal prep hack. Put all the dry, solid ingredients in your blender cup the night before. In the morning, just add liquid and blend. Ingredients: 1 scoop of protein powder, protein. 1 tablespoon of almond butter, fat. Half a banana, complex carb. Handful of frozen berries, fiber. 1 cup of milk or water. Method: blend until smooth. Drink. Conquer your day. Start by trying just one of these for the next week. Notice how you feel at 11 a.m. You might just find that the most delicious breakfast is the one that gives you the energy to actually enjoy your day.
Chapter 7. Plan with Purpose. The Intention-Setting Ritual. You've woken up gently, hydrated your body, moved your joints, calmed your mind, and fueled your engine. You are, by all accounts, primed for a fantastic day. And then you open your to-do list, and the crushing weight of reality slams into you like a rogue wave. I know this feeling intimately. I used to be the Michelangelo of to-do lists. I would craft sprawling, multicolored, intricately categorized masterpieces of ambition. A typical Tuesday list from my junior doctor days might have looked something like this.
Finish ward rounds. Review patient charts. All of them. Prep for cardiology seminar. Film and edit 2 YouTube videos. Write 1,000 words for that book I'm writing. Learn the basics of conversational Japanese. Finally figure out how taxes work. Invent a new, more efficient form of CPR. Call mom. By the end of the day, I'd have ticked off maybe 3 items. Instead of feeling accomplished, I'd feel like a complete failure. I was drowning in a sea of my own good intentions. My to-do list wasn't a tool for productivity. It was a daily record of everything I hadn't achieved. The problem, I slowly realized, wasn't my work ethic. It was my methodology. A to-do list is a shotgun blast of what? It's a jumble of tasks, obligations, and vague aspirations with no sense of hierarchy or purpose. It's a map with 1,000 different roads, but no destination highlighted. This is why so many of us make grand plans but never follow through. We're overwhelmed by choice and a lack of clear direction. The shift that changed everything for me was moving from task management to intention setting. It's a subtle but profound difference. Instead of asking, what do I have to do today? I started asking, what is the purpose of today? This isn't a New Age concept. The Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, Marcus Aurelius, did this every single morning. He would write in his journal, Meditations, not to list his imperial tasks, but to remind himself of his purpose, to be a good man, to act with virtue, and to serve others. He was setting his intention for the day before the chaos of the Roman court could derail him. By defining what a win for the day looks like in advance, you give your brain a clear target to aim for. You filter out the noise and focus your energy on the signal. This is how you turn a day of frantic box ticking into a day of meaningful progress and flow states, where you're so engaged in a task that the rest of the world melts away. This exact ritual is how I wrote my book, Feel Good Productivity, and took it to bestseller status. The task, write a book, is a recurring nightmare on a to-do list. It's so enormous, it invites procrastination. But my daily intention was never write a book. It was write 500 words on the chapter about morning routines, or outline the section on gentle awakenings. These were small, specific, achievable wins. Each day, I could go to bed knowing I had fulfilled my purpose for that day. A best-selling book isn't the result of one heroic effort. It's the cumulative result of thousands of small, intentional, daily wins. Lessons to follow. The 5-minute daily intention journal. This isn't about writing, Dear Diary. This is a surgical strike to bring clarity and purpose to your day. It should take you less time than it takes to scroll through your social media feed. Grab a notebook or open a notes app and answer these 3 questions every morning. Template 1. The Daily Intention Setter, 3 minutes. 1. What is my one most important thing today? MIT. This is inspired by the legendary Ivy Lee method. If you could only accomplish one thing today to feel productive and satisfied, what would it be? Be specific. This isn't work on Project X. It's draft the opening paragraph of the Project X proposal. Your MIT is your North Star for the day. 2. How do I want to feel as I do it? This is a game changer. We often focus on what we want to achieve, not how we want to feel. Do you want to feel focused, calm, creative, joyful? By setting an emotional intention, you give yourself a compass for your actions. If you want to feel calm, you're less likely to try and multitask with 27 tabs open. 3. What is one small thing I can do that is just for me? This is the antidote to burnout. It ensures that you're not just a productivity machine. It can be as simple as enjoy my morning coffee without my phone, listen to one episode of my favorite podcast, or go for a 10-minute walk at lunch. It's a small deposit in your well-being bank account. Template 2. The 10-minute weekly review. Do this every Sunday evening or Monday morning to set the stage for a purposeful week. 1. What were my 3 biggest wins from last week? Look back at your daily intentions. What went well? Acknowledging your progress builds momentum. 2. What was one lesson I learned? What didn't go so well? What did you discover about your workflow, your energy, or your habits? Frame it as a lesson, not a failure. 3. What are my 1 to 3 main objectives for this week?
Look at the bigger picture. What are the key projects or areas of your life that need your focus? These objectives will help you define your daily MITs for the week ahead. That's it. This simple ritual of planning with purpose will transform your relationship with your to-do list. It turns it from a source of anxiety into a blueprint for a life well lived, one intentional day at a time.
Chapter 8. Learn and laugh. Injecting joy into knowledge. There's a special kind of guilt reserved for the lifelong learner. It's the anxiety produced by the leaning tower of unread books on your bedside table. It's the silent judgment from the podcast app on your phone, filled with hundreds of hours of downloaded but unplayed wisdom. We live in an age of infinite information, and for many of us, it feels like we're perpetually falling behind. The desire to learn becomes another heavy item on our already bloated to-do list, filed somewhere between finally sort out the garage and learn Mandarin. I was the king of this kind of thinking. Learning, to me, was a competitive sport. It was about how many books I could crush in a year, how many facts I could cram into my brain, how efficiently I could acquire knowledge. This led me to a rather comical phase of my life that I call the Great Audiobook Speed Run. Convinced that listening at 1x speed was for mortals, I started cranking up the playback rate on my audiobooks. 1.5x was for beginners. 2x was standard. I was pushing 2.5x, even 3x, feeling like a productivity genius as I mainlined nonfiction at a speed that would make a chipmunk sound lethargic. My chosen victim for this experiment was a dense book on Stoic philosophy. I remember listening to a chapter on emotional regulation at triple speed while getting ready one morning. The narrator, bless him, was doing his best, but his calm, measured tones were compressed into a frantic, high-pitched squeak. The advice came out as a garbled mess. The sage is untroubled by external factors because his virtue is never let your donkey decide your mood. Judgment is the root of all disturbance. I nodded along sagely, convinced I'd absorbed the core message. Later that day, a minor annoyance occurred. I think someone cut me off in traffic. Instead of taking a calm, stoic breath, I recalled the chipmunk philosopher's advice. I gripped the steering wheel and muttered to myself, "My donkey is not deciding my mood." The driver next to me gave me a very strange look, and I had the sudden, crushing realization that I hadn't learned a single thing. I'd simply processed audio at high velocity. I hadn't injected knowledge into my life. I'd just created more noise. That experience taught me a profound lesson. The point of learning isn't speed, it's joy. It's about curiosity. It's about adding a little spark of wonder to your day. And the morning, when your mind is fresh and the world is quiet, is the perfect time to light that spark. This isn't just a nice idea. It's about setting the intellectual tone for your day. By feeding your brain something interesting and positive first thing, you're priming it for curiosity and growth, rather than letting it default to the reactive, cortisol-fueled state of checking emails and social media feeds. This small habit can have life-changing compound effects. I once got an email from a woman named Catherine, a primary school teacher who felt her creative spark was fizzling out. She had always been fascinated by graphic design, but felt she was too old and had no time to learn. She decided to try what I call the 1-page-a-day rule. She bought a beginner's book on design theory and committed to reading just 1 page every morning while she drank her tea. 1 page turned into 2. A book led to a short YouTube tutorial. A tutorial led to her downloading a free design app and tinkering for 15 minutes each morning. Over 2 years, that tiny, non-intimidating habit compounded into a genuine skill. She started designing worksheets for her class, then newsletters for the school. Last I heard, she was taking on small freelance projects, reigniting her passion, and earning a side income from a skill she had built, quite literally, 1 page at a time. Lessons to follow. Your joyful learning toolkit. Ready to make learning the best part of your morning instead of another chore? Let's make it fun and frictionless. Number 1, the first rule. Follow the fun. This is non-negotiable.
Do not start by picking a book you think you should read. Pick a topic you are genuinely, unashamedly curious about. Is it the history of ancient Rome? The science of sourdough? How to identify local birds? The business strategies of Taylor Swift? It doesn't matter. If it sparks joy, you'll stick with it. Number 2, this second rule. Make it stupidly small. Your only goal is to build the habit. To do that, the barrier to entry must be non-existent. The one-page rule. If you're reading a book, your goal is to read a single page. That's it. You can always read more, but one page is a win. The 1-minute rule. For podcasts, audiobooks, or videos, your goal is 1 minute. Just press play. The learning menu routine. Stack this new habit onto an existing one. Example, while drinking your coffee after your stretches. Choose your preferred format from the menu below. Menu option A. The reader. Tools. A physical book, a Kindle, or an app like Blinkist or Shortform for book summaries. Routine. Read the book on your kitchen table or next to your coffee machine. Read your 1 page or more while you enjoy your morning drink. Menu option B. The listener. Tools. A podcast app, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or audiobook app, Audible. Routine. Listen while you're stretching, making breakfast, or on your morning commute. It turns downtime into growth time. Curated suggestions for curious minds. Podcasts, Huberman Lab for deep dives into health and science. Freakonomics for seeing the hidden side of everything. No Such Thing as a Fish for hilarious and weird facts. Audiobooks start with something narrative and engaging like Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari or Atomic Habits by James Clear. Menu option C. The Watcher. Tools. YouTube, Nebula, or a course platform like Skillshare. Routine. Prop your phone or tablet up and watch a short educational video while you eat your breakfast. Curated channels that don't feel like homework. Kurzgesagt, in a nutshell, beautifully animated science videos. Smarter Every Day, exploring the world through science. Joe Erica, if you're into that sort of thing.
Chapter 9. Connect and Reflect. Building Human Bonds Early. For a long time, my morning routine was a deeply selfish endeavor. And I mean that in the best possible way. It was my sacred time to build a better version of me. It was a fortress of solitude where I could hydrate, plan, and learn without the distractions of the outside world. It was a single-player game, and I was leveling up my stats every single day. But in my quest to build a perfectly optimized individual, I was neglecting the one thing that science overwhelmingly points to as the greatest predictor of human happiness: the quality of our relationships. My epiphany on this front arrived in the form of a deeply awkward voicemail. I had just read a book that extolled the virtues of expressing gratitude, and in my typical fashion, I decided to hack it. I would systemize gratitude. I added a new task to my morning routine: express gratitude to friend. The next morning at 7:15 a.m., I scrolled through my contacts and landed on a good friend from university, Tom. I hit dial. Unsurprisingly, it went straight to voicemail. I panicked. I hadn't prepared for this. I launched into a rambling pre-coffee monologue. Hey Tom, it's Allie. Just calling because, well, it's 7:15 and I'm doing my morning routine and the task is to express gratitude. And I'm grateful for you, mate. Like, remember that time in second year when you lent me your lecture notes? That was really great of you. So yeah, gratitude expressed. Task complete. Have a good day. I hung up, my face burning with a cringe so powerful it could have curdled milk. A few hours later, I got a text back from Tom. Hey mate, got your voicemail. Everything okay? He thought I was having a breakdown. My attempt to optimize connection had come across as the robotic ramblings of a productivity-obsessed lunatic. I had treated a human relationship like an item on a checklist, and in doing so, I'd completely missed the point. This is a trap many of us fall into, especially introverts or people who are laser-focused on their goals. We build our perfect morning silo and we forget that our greatest sense of purpose, our biggest opportunities, and our deepest wells of happiness almost always come from other people.
The Harvard Study of Adult Development, one of the longest-running studies on happiness ever conducted, came to a single, unambiguous conclusion. Good relationships keep us happier and healthier. Period. This doesn't mean you have to become a morning extrovert or start hosting 8 a.m. networking breakfasts. It's about weaving small, almost effortless threads of connection into your routine. It's about turning the focus outward just for a moment and reminding yourself that you're part of a network. This tiny shift can have extraordinary results. I think of a story from a woman named Sarah, a software engineer who worked remotely. She was incredibly productive, but felt her career had stalled. She was a classic morning introvert. Her routine was her shield against the world. On my suggestion, she added a single 5-minute task. Every morning, she'd go on LinkedIn and find one old colleague or contact and send them a genuine compliment on a recent post or accomplishment. Not asking for anything, just giving a small piece of positive feedback. For weeks, nothing happened, but she felt good doing it. Then, one day, she messaged a manager she'd worked for 5 years earlier. "Incredible work on the new product launch," she wrote. He replied almost instantly, thanking her. He then said, "Your name came up last week. We're spinning up a new R&D team and need a lead engineer with your skills. Would you be open to a chat?" That one small, genuine connection, planted in the quiet of her morning, blossomed into the biggest career opportunity of her life. Lessons to follow. The no-cringe connection menu. The goal here is genuine, low-stakes connection that gives energy rather than drains it. Pick one of these prompts each morning. The whole thing should take less than 3 minutes. The golden rule. This is about giving without any expectation of receiving. You are sending a small flare of positivity out into the world. That's it. That's the win. Level 1. The quiet nod. Best for the super introvert or the time crunched. The prompt. Send a text to one person, a friend, a family member, with a simple no reply needed message. "Hey, just wanted to say I'm thinking of you. Hope you have a great day. Saw a bird, a funny sign, a good coffee, and it made me think of you. Just listening to that song we both like. That's all." Level 2. The gratitude giver, the non-awkward version. Best for acknowledging the people in your corner. The prompt. Think of someone who has helped you in the last week, big or small. Send them a specific one-sentence thank you. "Hey, just wanted to say thanks again for your advice on that email yesterday. It was super helpful. Thanks so much for making dinner last night. It was the best part of my day." Level 3. The serendipity sparker. Best for nurturing your professional and personal network. The prompt. Share something of value with one person with no strings attached. Find an article, podcast, or YouTube video you found interesting. Send it to one person who you think would also appreciate it. The message. "Hey, Name, this made me think of you. Found it really interesting and thought you might too." Choose one of these each morning. It's a tiny investment, but the dividends in strengthened relationships, unexpected opportunities, and a genuine sense of belonging are immeasurable. It's the final, crucial step that transforms the dawn shift from a routine for self-improvement into a foundation for a rich, fulfilling, and deeply connected life.
Chapter 10. Tech Taming. Screens that serve, not enslave. All right, let's be brutally honest with each other for a moment. You can have the world's most perfect morning routine. You can wake up gently with a sunrise alarm, hydrate with lemon-infused water, stretch like a yoga master, meditate like a monk, and plan your day like a Roman emperor. But all of that beautiful, intentional work can be utterly obliterated in about 5 seconds by a single, seductive act: reaching for your smartphone. If your first conscious thought of the day is, "I wonder what's happening on my phone," you are not alone. For years, my phone was my co-pilot in the morning. I'd roll over, turn off its alarm, and immediately open the floodgates. A torrent of emails from different time zones, a cascade of social media notifications, a headline about some impending global catastrophe. Before my feet even hit the floor, my brain was already hijacked. I wasn't running my day, I was reacting to 100 different agendas that had been beamed into my mind from a 6-inch glass rectangle. This isn't just a failure of willpower, it's a neurological ambush. When you check your phone first thing, you are jacking your brain directly into a dopamine-driven slot machine and a cortisol-pumping stress engine. Every notification is a potential reward, dopamine hit, and every urgent-looking email is a potential threat, cortisol spike. You're starting your day in a state of reactive, high-alert anxiety, and it's a terrible foundation for deep, focused work. I once tried to solve this problem with the subtlety of a sledgehammer. I declared I was going on a doom-scrolling detox. The rules were simple. For 1 week, I would not touch my phone for the first 2 hours of the day. It would be a pure analog morning. The first day was twitchy. I found myself instinctively reaching for the empty space on my bedside table. My brain, starved of its usual stimulus, began to invent ridiculous justifications. What if there's a family emergency? They would call and the phone would ring. What if my editor sent a crucial, time-sensitive email at 4 a.m. that requires my immediate attention? Unlikely, and also it can wait. My favorite was, what if a breakthrough in productivity science was just announced on Twitter, and by not checking, I am living a suboptimal life? I caved on day 3. I told myself I would just glance at it. A glance turned into 45 minutes of scrolling through Instagram, replying to non-urgent emails, and reading an article about the migratory patterns of Arctic terns. I looked up at the clock, realized my entire morning routine had been vaporized, and felt that familiar, sinking feeling of being behind before I'd even started. The detox failed because abstinence is a flawed strategy. The phone isn't the enemy. Our unconscious relationship with it is. The secret isn't to banish technology, but to bend it to our will. It's about designing a system where your screens serve your intentions, not enslave your attention. The power of this shift was perfectly illustrated by a CEO I coached, David. He ran a fast-growing tech company, and his mornings were a nightmare. He slept with his phone, waking up at 3 a.m. to check emails from his U.S. team. His first hour was a frantic triage of Slack messages, news alerts, and market reports. He was the epitome of a reactive leader, constantly firing fires, perpetually stressed, and feeling like his own strategic vision was being lost in the daily noise. We implemented one simple rule. The phone was not allowed in the bedroom. He bought a 10-pound digital alarm clock. That's it. His first hour of the day, previously a vortex of digital chaos, was now completely his. He used it to do the dawn shift routine: hydrate, move, journal, and set his top 3 priorities for the day. He started arriving at the office or his home office not with a head full of other people's problems, but with a clear, proactive plan. He went from being a firefighter to being an architect. He told me 6 months later that this single change didn't just lower his stress, it gave him the clarity to make 2 of the most profitable strategic decisions in his company's history. He went from distraction to dominance by reclaiming his first hour. Lessons to follow. Your morning tech manifesto. Ready to turn your phone from a weapon of mass distraction into a tool for a focused life? Here are the rules of engagement. 1. Evict your phone from the bedroom. This is the single most important rule. Your bedroom is for sleeping, not for scrolling. Action: go on Amazon right now and buy the cheapest, most simple digital alarm clock you can find. Tonight, your phone charges in the living room or the kitchen. This one non-negotiable act will change your life. 2. The first hour, my hour pact. Your brain is at its most impressionable when you wake up. Protect that time fiercely. Action: make a simple rule. No email, no social media, no news apps for the first 60 minutes of your day, period. Your dawn shift routine happens in this sacred, protected bubble. 3. Architect your home screen for focus. Your phone's default layout is designed to distract you. We're going to redesign it for intention. Action: the purge. Move every single infinity pool app, Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook, news apps, email, off your main home screen. Bury them in a folder on your very last page. The toolbox. Your main home screen should only contain tool apps that serve your morning. Think of it as your dawn shift dashboard. Examples: a meditation app, Calm Headspace; your journaling app, Notion, Day One; a podcast or audiobook app,
Audible, your workout app. Go gray, optional Pro Move. In your phone's accessibility settings, you can turn the screen to grayscale. A gray, colorless screen is significantly less appealing to your dopamine-seeking brain, making it a boring tool rather than a vibrant toy. 4. Become a notification ninja. A notification is a demand for your attention. It's time to be ruthless. Action: go into your settings and turn off all notifications for every app except for calls from your favorite contacts and maybe your calendar. You decide when to get information, it doesn't get to decide for you. By implementing these rules, you're not depriving yourself. You are performing the ultimate act of self-respect. You are telling the world and, more importantly, telling yourself that your attention is your most valuable asset, and it's not for sale, especially not before breakfast.
Chapter 11: Adapt and Evolve. When life throws curveballs. There's a dangerous myth that we high achievers tell ourselves. It's the myth of the unbroken chain, the perfect streak, the flawlessly executed routine that continues uninterrupted into infinity. We see those habit trackers with a satisfying sea of green check marks and think that is the goal. For a long time, I believed this with every fiber of my being. My morning routine was a perfectly calibrated machine, and I was its devoted, unyielding operator. And then life happens. My most spectacular collision with this reality occurred on a trip to Los Angeles for a YouTube conference. I was determined not to let a pesky 8-hour time difference derail my sacred dawn shift. I had a plan. I would be a master of my circadian rhythm, a productivity god straddling 2 continents. My plan was to stubbornly stick to my UK morning time, which meant my routine would begin at approximately 11 p.m. Los Angeles time. What followed was one of the most pathetic scenes you can imagine. At midnight, in a generic hotel room, I began my Move to Groove session. In the dim light, I promptly tripped over my suitcase and landed in a heap, my dignity bruised more than my knee. Undeterred, I proceeded to hydrate and illuminate. This involved me chugging a bottle of overpriced hotel water while staring directly at the blindingly bright screen of my laptop, which was propped open on the desk in a desperate attempt to simulate daylight and trick my brain into thinking it was morning. By the time the actual conference started the next day, I wasn't the energized, focused super creator I'd envisioned. I was a jet-lagged, sleep-deprived zombie fueled by pure stubbornness and overpriced coffee. My rigid adherence to my perfect routine hadn't empowered me. It had completely sabotaged me. I'd won the battle for my checklist, but lost the war for my well-being and performance. This is the trap of the inconsistent performer. We fall in love with the idea of the perfect routine, and when real life, travel, illness, a new baby, a crazy deadline, inevitably throws a curveball, our all-or-nothing thinking kicks in. We can't do our fall 90-minute routine, so we do nothing. The chain is broken, and we descend into a spiral of guilt and inaction, waiting for the perfect Monday to start again. The real secret, the one that separates the amateurs from the pros, is this. The goal is not rigidity, it's resilience. The most advanced routine is the one that is designed to bend without breaking. This lesson truly hit home for me through the story of a reader, Mike, a new dad. His meticulously crafted 60-minute dawn shift, complete with journaling, meditation, and language learning, was his sanctuary. And then his daughter was born. A tiny, adorable agent of chaos who viewed his Google Calendar with utter disdain. His routine was obliterated. He felt like a failure, frustrated that the very system that was supposed to give him control had been taken away. Together, we worked on a new strategy. We abandoned the all-or-nothing mindset and created what we called the minimum viable morning. We broke his routine down into its constituent atoms. Meditation became a 2-minute breathing exercise he could do while rocking his daughter to sleep. Learn and laugh became listening to a podcast on a single earbud during a 3 a.m. feeding.
And plan with purpose became typing one single priority for the day into his phone's Notes app while waiting for the kettle to boil. He didn't just survive the newborn phase, he thrived. He realized that the power of the routine wasn't in its duration, but in its intention. He was still starting his day on his own terms, even if those terms were now negotiated with a baby. He turned a setback into a comeback by learning to adapt. Lessons to follow: the curveball adaptation framework. Your routine is a toolkit, not a set of commandments. When life gets messy, you don't throw the whole toolkit away. You just pick the right tool for the job. Here's how to do it. 1. The routine triage system. When you're short on time, energy, or in a different environment, triage your routine like a doctor in an emergency room. Ask yourself, what is the one thing I can do in the next 10 minutes that will make the biggest positive impact on my day? Level 1. The bare minimum, under 5 minutes. When to use. You're sick, you woke up late, you're completely overwhelmed. The prescription? Drink a full glass of water, take 3 slow, deliberate breaths, think of one thing you are grateful for. That's it. You have won. You have successfully shifted your state from reactive to intentional. Level 2. The Traveler's 10 minutes. When to use. You're in a hotel, at a relative's house, or otherwise out of your element. The prescription? Hydrate. Water is non-negotiable. Move. 5 minutes of simple stretching. See Chapter 4 for the still brewing stretch. Plan. 5 minutes to define your one most important thing for the day. Level 3. The compressed power-up. 20 minutes. When to use? You have a bit of time, but not enough for the full shebang. The prescription? Pick your favorite 3 components of the dawn shift and do a mini version of each. Example, hydrate and eliminate, 5 minutes, plus plan with purpose, 5 minutes, plus move to groove, 10 minutes. 2. The if-then troubleshooting guide. The best way to handle disruptions is to plan for them. Create a few simple if-then plans for common curveballs. If I wake up late and only have 10 minutes, then I will do the bare minimum and define my MIT while brushing my teeth. If I am traveling for work, then my only goals are to hydrate, stretch, and plan my day. Everything else is a bonus. If I feel sick, then the routine is officially paused. My only job is to rest and hydrate. Productivity is getting better. If I miss a day, or 3, then I will not feel guilty. I will simply ask, what does the bare minimum look like tomorrow morning, and start again. The mastery of the dawn shift isn't about achieving a perfect unbroken streak. It's about building a robust, flexible system that serves you in the messy reality of a life fully lived. It's about knowing that even on the most chaotic of days, you have the tools to take a breath, set an intention, and start again, right where you are.
Chapter 12. Measure the Magic. Tracking Progress Without Obsession. If there's one thing a productivity nerd loves more than a new Moleskine notebook, it's a beautifully complex spreadsheet. For a while, I was the undisputed heavyweight champion of over-the-top personal tracking. I didn't just have a spreadsheet to track my dawn shift, I had a relational database. It was a glorious, color-coded, VLOOKUP-powered monstrosity that would have made a NASA mission planner weep with envy. I tracked everything: my wake-up time to the second, my water intake in milliliters, the exact duration of my meditation, and a subjective mind-wandering score from 1 to 10. I even had a pivot table to cross-reference my morning move-to-groove routine with my perceived focus level at 3 p.m. It was a masterpiece of data collection. It was also completely and utterly insane. My day started not with a sense of calm intention, but with the low-grade anxiety of a data entry clerk. If I only read 3 pages of a book instead of my target of 10, I'd feel a pang of failure as I logged the subpar number.
If I missed a day, a glaring red 0 would mock me from its cell, breaking the beautiful green chain of my consistency. The very system I had designed to empower me had become a ruthless digital judge of my self-worth. This is the perfectionist's paradox. We start tracking our habits to get better, but we quickly become obsessed with the tracking itself. We fall in love with the data, the streaks, the graphs. The tool becomes the target. We're no longer measuring to improve our lives, we're living our lives to improve our metrics. And that is a fast-track ticket to burnout. The problem with this approach is that it misses the entire point. The goal of the dawn shift isn't to get a perfect score on a spreadsheet. The goal is to feel better. It's to have more energy, more focus, more joy, and more resilience. The most important metrics are often the ones you can't quantify in a cell. The real transformation happens when you stop measuring the inputs with obsessive detail and start gently noticing the outputs. How do you feel? That's the real magic. That's the metric that matters. I learned this from a reader named Ben, a lawyer who had fully embraced the data-driven life. He'd track his habits with an app that would give him a satisfying ding every time he completed a task. He had a 172-day streak going. Then he went on a camping trip with his family with no cell service. His streak was broken. He confessed to me that he felt a disproportionate amount of anger and despair over losing his digital streak, so much so that it clouded the final day of his holiday. He decided to try a different approach. He deleted the app and started a new practice I recommended, the energy journal. At the end of each day, he'd take 2 minutes to jot down a few notes in a notebook or a notes app, answering one simple question. Where did I get my energy from today? Some days it was the morning routine. Other days it was a call with his sister, or the 20-minute walk he took at lunch, or playing with his kids in the garden. By focusing on what gave him energy, he stopped obsessing over a perfect chain of inputs. He started intuitively doing more of the things that filled his cup. He found that his consistency with his morning routine actually improved, not because he was forcing it, but because he could viscerally feel the positive downstream effects. He broke his obsession with the checklist, and in doing so, found a far more sustainable and joyful path to progress. Lessons to follow: the Sustainable Success Toolkit. Ready to track your progress without tying yourself in knots? Let's focus on what truly matters: your energy, your wins, and your well-being. Number 1. The 2-minute energy journal. Ditch the complex spreadsheet. At the end of each day or during your weekly review, take just 2 minutes to reflect on these simple prompts in a notebook or a notes app. The goal is awareness, not judgment. Prompt 1. What gave me energy today? Like my morning stretch, a productive meeting, a healthy lunch, a good conversation. Prompt 2. What drained my energy today? Like skipping breakfast, checking emails first thing, a difficult conversation. Prompt 3. What's one small thing I can try tomorrow based on this? Like, I'll try to eat a proper lunch, or I'll make sure to do my 5-minute stretch. This simple practice builds self-awareness, which is infinitely more valuable than a perfect habit streak. Number 2. The weekly wins review. Instead of focusing on what you missed, train your brain to see what you accomplished. At the end of each week, answer these questions. What am I proud of this week? It doesn't have to be a huge achievement. I managed to do the bare minimum routine on 3 chaotic days is a massive win. How did my morning routine serve me this week? Did it give you clarity, calm, energy? Connect the habit to the feeling. What does success look like for next week? Set a gentle, realistic intention, not a rigid quota. Number 3. The art of the celebration ritual. Your brain is wired to repeat actions that lead to rewards. If the only reward for doing your routine is getting a check mark, you're missing a trick. Build in small, joyful celebrations for your effort. Daily celebration. Your celebration can be the last step of the routine itself. The reward for meditating is the feeling of calm. The reward for planning your day is the feeling of control. Savor that feeling for a moment. Weekly celebration. If you are consistent with your routine for the week, treat yourself. This doesn't have to be extravagant. It could be buying a really nice coffee on Friday, taking 30 minutes to read a novel guilt-free, watching an episode of your favorite show, giving yourself a genuine pat on the back and saying, "Good job." By measuring the magic, not just the metrics, you transform the dawn shift from a rigid discipline into a personal practice. It becomes a source of energy and insight, a flexible system that adapts to your life and, most importantly, one that you can joyfully sustain for years.
Chapter 13, The Ripple Effect. Mornings that change everything. We've covered a lot of ground together. We've ditched our alarm dramas, hydrated our brains, learned to stretch away the stiffness, and even made peace with our phone. We've built, piece by piece, a system designed to win the morning. But if you walk away from this book thinking that the ultimate prize is just a series of pleasant, productive mornings, then I failed you. Because the dawn shift was never really about the morning. The morning is just the epicenter. It's the point where you drop the pebble into the still water of your day. The real magic, the life-altering power of this practice, is in the ripples. It's about how that initial act of intention spreads outwards, touching and transforming every other area of your life. Your work, your health, your relationships, your sense of self. It's the ultimate compound interest for a life well lived. Think about it. The calm focus you cultivate in your 5 minutes of mindfulness doesn't just stay on the meditation cushion. It's the superpower you bring to a stressful meeting. The energy you generate from a healthy breakfast and a few minutes of movement doesn't burn out by 9 a.m. It's the fuel that helps you show up as a better parent, partner, and friend in the evening. The single most important priority you set in your journal isn't just a task to be checked off. It's a vote for the person you want to become. And those votes, cast daily, are what build a new identity. This isn't just a theory, it's the story of my life. Sometimes, for a laugh, I try to imagine the alternate universe where I never changed, where I let that snooze button win the war for my mornings. What would that snooze button Ollie be doing right now? He'd probably be a doctor, and a good one, I hope. But he'd be tired. So tired. He'd be living for the weekends, perpetually feeling like he was behind on life admin, his creative ideas relegated to a someday folder on his laptop that he never opens. He might have even tried to start a YouTube channel, but the videos would be sporadic, filmed late at night when he was already exhausted. The channel would be called something like A Doctor's Diary of Despair, and it would have a grand total of 14 subscribers, half of whom would be my mom using different accounts. He'd be a man living a life of quiet reaction, his potential capped by the low ceiling of his own fatigue and lack of intention. I shudder when I think about that guy because he was so close to being the real me. The only difference between him and the Ollie writing this book is a series of small, intentional choices made in the quiet, pre-dawn hours, day after day. Those choices created ripples. The ripple of learning a new skill led to a YouTube channel. The ripple of financial discipline led to a business. The ripple of connecting with others led to a team and a community. The ripple of intentional calm gave me the resilience to handle the stress that came with all of it. This is the path available to you. I've seen it happen to thousands of people who have embraced these ideas. I think of the teacher who used her morning learning habit to pivot into a new career. I think of the new dad who used the bare minimum routine to stay sane and present during a chaotic time. I think of the CEO who reclaimed her strategic vision by evicting her phone from her bedroom. These aren't just stories of better mornings. They are visionary tales of lives forever altered, not by one grand heroic leap, but by the relentless, gentle pressure of a daily practice. This is the ultimate promise of the dawn shift. it's not just about changing your morning. It's about changing everything. Lessons to follow, your 30-day Dawn Shift implementation plan. This is it. This is where the reading ends and the doing begins. The goal here is not perfection. The goal is to build a new foundation, one brick at a time, that will last a lifetime. The golden rule for the next 30 days, consistency over intensity. Week 1, days 1 through 7, the foundation. Your only mission this week is to establish the habit of waking up and starting with intention. Focus on chapters 2 and 3, ditch the alarm drama, and hydrate and illuminate. Your goal? Place your alarm across the room. When it goes off, get up, no snooze. Drink 1 glass of water, get 5 to 10 minutes of light exposure from a window or a lamp. That's it. Even if you do nothing else, this is a monumental win. Week 2, days 8 through 14, adding movement and fuel. Now that the foundation is setting, let's add the energy layer. Focus on chapters 4 and 6, move to groove and fuel for the fire. Your goal: continue with the habits from week 1, add a 5-minute rusty robot stretch routine, swap your usual breakfast for one option from the no-bore breakfast matrix. Week 3, days 15 through 21, the mental game. With your physical state primed, it's time to bring in the mental clarity. Focus on chapters 5 and 7, mindful minutes, and plan with purpose. Your goal: continue with the habits from weeks 1 and 2, add a 2 to 5 minute guided meditation or breathing exercise. Take 3 minutes to journal your daily intention setter. Week 4, days 22 through 30, consolidation and personalization. This is where you make the routine truly your own. Focus on chapters 8, 9, 10, and 11, learn, connect, tech tame, and adapt. Your goal: your core routine should be feeling more automatic now. Experiment. Try adding a learn and laugh component. Send one connect text. Implement the tech taming rules that feel right for you. Most importantly, practice the adapt and evolve framework. If you have a chaotic day, consciously choose the bare minimum routine. This is you learning to be resilient, not rigid. The person who started reading this book is not the same person who is finishing it. You now have the knowledge, the tools, and a clear plan. You know that a better life isn't found in some far-off imagined future. It's built in the first hour of your day, every day. The journey starts tomorrow morning. The pebble is in your hand. Now, go and make some ripples.
Conclusion. Your dawn awaits. Start tomorrow. Thrive forever. So, here we are. At the end of a book, but at the very beginning of a new way of living. If you've made it this far, thank you. Thank you for investing your most precious resource, your time and attention, in these ideas. But the real work and the real joy is about to begin. I'll let you in on a little secret. Even after all these years, my own routine is still a work in progress. Just last week, in a moment of questionable genius, I decided to try and combine my learn and laugh habit with my move to groove habit by listening to a complex philosophy podcast while attempting a new wobbly yoga pose. The result was that I absorbed neither the philosophical argument nor the yoga pose, but I did discover a new and very efficient way to fall over. I tell you this because the goal was never to hand you a perfect, immutable system that you must follow with robotic precision. Life is too messy and beautiful for that. The goal was to give you a framework and a set of tools to craft a morning that works for you, a morning that serves your energy, your goals, and your well-being. The journey of writing this book has been a constant reminder of the single most important truth I've learned. How we spend our mornings is how we spend our lives. It's a bold statement, but I believe it to be true. A life of purpose, focus, and joy isn't the result of a lottery win or a single moment of breakthrough. It is the slow, steady, and beautiful accumulation of well-lived days. And our days are built upon the foundation of our mornings. Over the years, as I've shared these ideas on YouTube and with my friends, a few questions have popped up again and again. Think of this as our final Q&A session together. But Allie, what if I've tried and failed at a dozen routines before? Welcome to the club.
The reason the dawn shift works where others fail is because it's built on flexibility, not rigidity. If you failed before, it was likely because you were trying to follow a rule book that didn't account for your life. Remember the adaptation framework. Remember the bare minimum morning. This isn't about a perfect streak. It's about a resilient practice. You can't fail if you're willing to start again tomorrow. I'm a night owl. Is there any hope for me? Absolutely. This has never been a crusade to turn everyone into a 5 a.m. riser. It's a movement to make the first hour of your day, whenever it begins, intentional. A night owl who wakes up at 10 a.m. and spends 10 minutes hydrating, stretching, and setting an intention for the day will be infinitely more effective than an early bird who spends their first hour doom-scrolling in bed. Own your chronotype and adapt the principles. This feels like a lot to remember. Where do I even start? You start with one thing, just one. For the next 3 days, don't try to do everything in this book. Just do this. When your alarm goes off, get out of bed and drink a single glass of water. That's it. Feel the small but profound win of starting your day with a single act of self-care. Then, when you're ready, add another brick to your foundation. This book is not a finish line. It is an invitation. It is an invitation to join a community of people who believe that better days are possible and that they start with better mornings. Lessons to follow. Your lifetime maintenance guide. As you move forward, keep these principles in mind to ensure your routine serves you for years to come. The 6-month audit. At least twice a year, take 15 minutes to review your routine. Ask yourself, what's working? What feels like a chore? What new habit or interest do I want to incorporate? Your life evolves, and your routine should evolve with it. Embrace the seasons. It's natural to feel more energized in the bright summer months and more inclined towards quiet reflection in the dark of winter. Don't fight this. Adapt your routine to the season. Maybe your winter mornings are more about journaling and reading, while summer mornings are about getting outside for a walk. The fun litmus test. If a part of your routine consistently feels joyless, swap it out. If you're bored of your stretches, find a new 5-minute yoga video on YouTube. If you're tired of your breakfast, try a new recipe from the Fuel Matrix. Joy is the glue that makes good habits stick. Join the conversation. The story doesn't end here. It continues with you. Your journey, your wins, your hilarious fails, they're all part of this movement. Share your progress, ask questions, and connect with others who are on the same path. Use the hashtag DawnShift on Instagram, X, or TikTok to share a picture of your morning view, your no-bore breakfast, or your energy journal. I'll be looking out for them, and I can't wait to see the ripples you create. For more resources, including downloadable templates from this book, guided meditations, and my favorite playlists for a focused morning, head over to my YouTube channel. The sun will rise tomorrow. That is a certainty. It will rise with its quiet promise of a fresh start and a new beginning. The only question is whether you will choose to rise with it. You have everything you need. You are capable of more than you know. Your best days are not a distant dream. They are a direct result of the choices you will make in the quiet, precious, and powerful first hour of tomorrow. Your dawn awaits. Go and meet it.
Here is a chapter-by-chapter summary of Dawn Shift, designed to give you the book's core lessons and takeaways in minutes. Chapter 1. Dawn Shift, the morning routine that rewired my life and can rewire yours. Main idea. How you start your day has a disproportionate impact on your entire life. The author, a former snooze button slave and junior doctor, transformed his chaotic, reactive mornings into a foundation for success and well-being. Key lesson. A morning routine isn't about rigid rules or becoming a 5 a.m. guru. It's about shifting your mindset from a reactive state, I have to survive the morning, to an intentional one, I get to design my day. Actionable takeaway. Take the What's Your Morning Type quiz. The first step is self-awareness. Determine if you're a natural early bird, a flexible finch, or a night owl. This will help you tailor the book's advice to your own biological rhythm instead of fighting against it. Chapter 2. The Wake-Up Call. Ditching the Alarm Drama. Main idea. Harsh sound-based alarms are a stressful, anxiety-inducing way to start the day. The goal is to create a gentle, gradual awakening that works with your body's natural sleep cycles, not against them. Key lesson. Light is the most powerful signal to your brain that it's time to wake up. By mimicking a natural sunrise, you can suppress the sleep hormone, melatonin, and gently ease into consciousness, avoiding the grogginess, sleep inertia, caused by hitting the snooze button. Actionable takeaway. Take the 7-day Gentle Rise Challenge. 1. Change your alarm sound to something pleasant and gradual. 2. Incorporate light by sleeping with curtains slightly open or using a sunrise alarm clock. 3. Kill the snooze button by placing your alarm across the room, forcing you to physically get up. Chapter 3. Hydrate and illuminate, the first sip of power. Main idea. Before you do anything else, especially drinking coffee, your body needs 2 fundamental things: water and light. Key lesson. After 7 to 8 hours of sleep, your brain and body are dehydrated. Rehydrating first thing kickstarts your metabolism and clears brain fog. Simultaneously, light exposure sets your body's internal clock, circadian rhythm, shutting down sleep mode and firing up your energy systems. Actionable takeaway. Implement the Hydrate and Illuminate habit stack. Prepare a glass of water on your bedside table the night before. Upon waking, drink the water while netting 5 to 10 minutes of light exposure, either by sitting near a window, stepping outside, or using a SAD lamp or sunrise alarm clock. Chapter 4. Move to Groove, turning stiffness into flow. Main idea. The purpose of morning movement is not an intense workout. It's a gentle change in physiological state from stiffness and sluggishness to energy and momentum. Key lesson. Just 5 minutes of gentle movement sends oxygen to your brain, activates your lymphatic system, and releases mood-boosting endorphins. The goal is to build energy, not burn calories. Consistency is far more important than intensity. Actionable takeaway. Try the 5-minute Rusty Robot Reset. Choose a simple, low-friction routine, example, basic neck and shoulder rolls, a simple yoga flow, or a quick circuit of jumping jacks and squats, and commit to just 5 minutes. Track your consistency with a simple X on a calendar to build the streak. Chapter 5. Mindful Minutes. Breathing away the chaos. Mindfulness is not about achieving an empty mind. It's a practical exercise to train your attention muscle, allowing you to better manage the mental chaos of a busy life. Key lesson. The point of meditation isn't to stop thinking about your to-do list or pizza. It's to simply notice when your mind has wandered and gently guide it back to your breath. Each time you do this, you complete one bicep curl for your focus. Actionable takeaway. Start with a guided meditation app like Headspace or Calm for 5 to 10 minutes. For a quick on-the-spot reset anytime during the day, use the box breathing technique. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. Chapter 6. Fuel for the Fire. Breakfasts that don't bore. Main idea. Sugary, simple-carb breakfasts lead to a short energy spike followed by a productivity-killing crash. A balanced breakfast provides sustained energy for hours. Key lesson. Build your breakfast like a steady-burning log, not a piece of paper. This means combining 3 key elements: protein, which keeps you full, healthy fats, brain fuel, and fiber, or complex carbs, for slow-release energy. Actionable takeaway. Use the no-bore breakfast matrix. Each morning, create a quick meal by picking at least one item from each of the 3 key columns. Example, Greek yogurt, protein, plus nuts, fat, plus berries, fiber. Chapter 7. Plan with Purpose. The Intention Setting Ritual. Main idea.
Massive, sprawling to-do lists are a recipe for overwhelm and feelings of failure. The key is to shift from tactical task management to purposeful intention setting. Key lesson. Instead of asking, "What do I have to do today?" ask, "What is the purpose of today?" By defining what a win looks like in advance, you provide your brain with a clear target and filter out the noise. Actionable takeaway. Use the 5-minute daily intention journal. Every morning, write down the answer to 3 questions. 1. What is my one most important thing today? 2. How do I want to feel? 3. What is one small thing I can do just for me? Chapter 8. Learn and laugh, injecting joy into knowledge. Main idea. Learning should be a source of joy and curiosity, not another chore on your to-do list. The morning is a perfect time to spark your intellect. Key lesson. The goal of learning isn't speed or efficiency. It's about compounding knowledge over time through a tiny, consistent habit. A small spark of curiosity in the morning primes your brain for a day of growth. Actionable takeaway. Follow the fun and make it stupidly small. Pick a topic you're genuinely curious about and commit to the 1 page for books or the 1 minute for podcasts or videos each morning. Chapter 9. Connect and reflect, building human bonds early. Main idea. An optimized morning routine is incomplete without human connection, which is scientifically proven to be the greatest predictor of happiness and fulfillment. Weave small, effortless threads of connection into your routine by turning your focus outward for a brief moment. This is about giving without expectation, which strengthens relationships and can lead to serendipitous opportunities. Actionable takeaway. Use the no cringe connection menu. Spend 2 to 3 minutes each morning sending either a simple thinking of you text or a specific thank you message to someone in your network, or an article or podcast of value to someone in your network. Chapter 10. Tech Taming. Screens that serve, not enslave. Main idea. Reaching for your phone first thing in the morning is a neurological ambush that hijacks your attention and puts you in a state of reactive anxiety. Key lesson. The phone isn't the enemy, but your unconscious relationship with it is. The solution is to design a system where your technology serves your intentions, not the other way around. Actionable takeaway. Implement the Morning Tech Manifesto. 1. Evict your phone from the bedroom, buy a cheap alarm clock. 2. Create a first hour, my hour pact with no social media or email. 3. Redesign your phone's home screen to be a toolbox, not a toy. Chapter 11. Adapt and evolve when life throws curveballs. Main idea. The myth of the perfect, unbroken routine is dangerous. Life is messy, and a truly effective routine is one that is resilient and flexible, not rigid. Key lesson. The goal is not to be perfect, but to be prepared. When life gets chaotic, travel, illness, a new baby, all or nothing thinking leads to doing nothing. The pro move is to adapt. Use the curveball adaptation framework. Triage your routine based on the time you have. Create a bare minimum version, under 5 minutes, water, 3 deep breaths, and 1 grateful thought for chaotic days. Use the if-then planning to decide in advance how you'll handle disruptions. Chapters 12 and conclusion. The ripple effect and your dawn awaits. Main idea. The morning routine is the epicenter of personal change. Its true power lies in the ripple effect, how the intention, calm, and energy you cultivate in the first hour spread to transform every other area of your life. Key lesson. A better life is the accumulation of well-lived days, which are built upon the foundation of well-lived mornings. You have the tools to stop reacting to life and start